Okay. All right. So our next piece that we're working on with Randy is Syrinx by Claude Debussy. And what do you know about this, Randy? This piece at all?
A little. I mean, I know it has to do a little with Pan's flute, and it's kind of tells a story of him, and then towards the end, kind of shows like his last few words. One of my favorite parts, or his last little playing here.
Yeah.
That's about as much as I know.
Yeah. Have you listened to a lot of recordings of this?
Just a few.
Yeah,
and variations of the way it is played. And
right,
how they mess around at the beginning.
Right. It's very different from person to person. Yeah. What inspired you to work on this piece? Do you have any inspirations for it, or?
I just think I really like it. It's really, it's a little intense, and it's got that weird little drawing sound to it.
Yes.
I just really like it. The way it sounds.
It takes you in.
Yeah,
Claude Debussy really wrote well for the flute, and this is quite the piece for in our flute repertoire. Anyhow, we're very lucky that we have something for solo flute that he wrote, and with such finesse and good. All right, well, let's hear the first 3 lines or so of this first little section and see what you got. All right. Let's stop with that. That's okay. That's all right. Let's work on the first 3 lines first, and because a lot of the things that we talk about here in the beginning will, will help you for the rest of this as you work on it as well. All right. So, what do you like or not like about how you just played some of that besides this part? It's just the beginning.
Well, I know that obviously there was a little pitch thing, but it's, some of my rhythm stuff. Keeping the time.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's very good. I think now that you know this, because we've been talking about how to maybe understand how the rhythm is before you can mess around with it, or, put in your own expression and interpretation of that, as we talked about when you were listening to some other recordings, and how people express themselves differently in this. I think you have that ability to do that now, all right? I'm convinced that you know what you're doing. All right, what's the tempo marking?
Terz moderate.
And what does that mean?
Very moderate.
So we don't want to slow it down too much, I think. And I think it's the opening of the piece. Now, it's marked mezzo forte, all right? But is this a piece written for solo flute, or is this a piece written for flute and piano?
Solo flute.
Right. So I think when you perform this, you have to think that you are wanting to command the audience to pay attention to you. And Claude Debussy, if you don't know, he played around. He was very interested in colors of instruments, all right, when he was writing music. And the different colors that one instrument maybe could find, and how he combined those was genius. But in this piece especially, he's got some high, he's got some low. So we need to be the most expressive we can be in the range that it starts out with, I think. And in order to do that, you've got to command a little bit more presence, I think, when you start this. So I would think that I would play maybe just a little bit louder than mezzo forte to make sure I'm comfortable with my sound. Okay? All right. Try me the first line again. Yeah. Yes, good. Very good. Good job. All right, now before you go on, that's very nice. Now, what did we talk about in the Garibaldi etude? What did we talk about in that one about the air?
Just keeping it Or
keeping it moving forward, isn't it? Especially when we were doing descending intervals, all right? So where does this go, all right? It starts on the B flat and then it finally ends on the B flat, but we go down and then boom, we pop back up again. So in order to keep the pitch going on that D flat especially, is what we're noticing, all right, that it goes a little flat, you want to keep everything moving quite forward here. And I think you could play the 32nd notes a little faster if you wanted to, all right? You know, something like that. I don't know. All right, you try it. Go for it. Good. So one thing I think we have to notice about tone and pitch with this piece especially is that you start on a B flat and you end on a B flat, and they have to be in tune with each other, all right? So a way you could practice this was to maybe turn on the tuner, look at your first B flat, and then look where you are in your last B flat and see if it's the same. And if it isn't, you're going to have to make a change, right? And the other thing I think is we also, go ahead. Good. Good. I love it when you take notes. All right, beautiful. So the other thing I think is important is to feel like these 32nd notes are pickups into the next beat. Da 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 dee, da da dee, da dee, da dee, da da dee. All right. So that keeps the momentum of the music moving forward too, and it might help your breath support at the same time. All right. All right. Watch your tonguing. Make sure you're articulating correctly. All right. Try it again. All right. That's much better. How's that feel?
A lot better.
Yeah, good. Easier, harder? Easier in some respects. Yeah. All right. So now activate that support system just a little bit more so that you're really pushing down and out with those support muscles as you play it, and try it again. All right. Do something more with it. All right. Really be expressive now. Let Randy come through that flute. Okay. That's much better. I like that a whole lot better. Now that's better in tune with itself. It has better sound. All right. It just feels like you know where you want this to go. All right. So if you start the piece out like that, how are you going to feel for the rest of it?
Good.
Yeah, you want to start out well, because it's scary playing a solo piece in front of an audience sometimes, all right, even for a jury. All right, so let's try the next part. So you've played the first part, you have a hold here where you can pause a little bit and then try the next section. Now he's saying still mezzo forte. We have, this is Irv Monroe's edition of Syrinx, and he's marked this in parentheses, which means that he's telling you this should be the same volume that you left the opening, all right? Maybe not with the decrescendo, but how you started this out, all right? So measure 3, all right? Let's try this next little section. That's hard. I know that's hard. All right. Well, let's talk about the ending of this section first. All right. This is a 32nd note pickup, correct? Papa. 16th. Sorry, 16th. Yes, that's what I meant to say. Thank you. All right. Ta-ta. I think you don't want to give it all away at the beginning of this. And what does retenue mean?
Restrained, holding back.
So now you got to kind of practice that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this part first, all right? And then we'll work on the restrained, holding back, okay? That's all right. when you hold this C flat?
Just holding the sound and just slowly.
Are you counting?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Good, good. All right.
1, 2, 3.
Right, right. So it really is one big long phrase elongated, basically, isn't it? Yeah. So we have to, even though there's a little bit of a decrescendo here before we get to that last measure, we still have to feel like the D flat leads to the E flat. Then you can hold back or refrain a little bit on that part, all right? All right, let's try it again. Nice, good breath when you start this. Good, all right, so now you've got a little bit more control over the sound and the pitch and your breath support. So now let's talk about the tempo of this. So you're really moving into the E flat, and now you're going to have to slow it down, all right? And some people like to slow it down maybe a little earlier, and I'm sure you've heard recordings of that where the D flat is a little bit more elongated.
Yes.
So that's up to you, all right? All right, let's try it again. Play it differently now, all right? See if you can express yourself differently. Better, good, and then, yes, good. Very good. I think we want to practice this now, all right? The E flat to the B. And again, it's like what we talked about in the Garibaldi etude. It's a descending interval. That makes it very difficult to keep the air moving. All right, let's pretend it doesn't say piano, and let's pretend there's no decrescendo, and just play the E flat half note to the B flat in time with your tempo that you like, and just beautiful sound, the most beautiful sound you can do. Good, how's that feel?
Good.
Good, let's do it a few more times. Beautiful. All right, now be careful of the end. You got to keep your lips reaching forward, all right? Good, and that's much better in tune with itself. Dee-dum. Don't go flat on the B flat even with this in time, and we're not doing anything crazy with the dynamics yet, okay? Do it again. Yeah, and that's more difficult than it seems, I think. You know, I think that's really hard. Whenever I have to play this piece, that's what I practice a lot, a whole lot. All right, so now let's stretch it out, all right? Let's not change the dynamics. We can still play with a full sound, all right? But hold back a little bit and see if you can, how expressive do you want to be on these two notes, all right?
Okay.
Experiment, see what you think.
No.
That's okay, nice deep breath. Good, I like that. Let's do something else now. Good. Can you stretch it out a little bit more? Wow, okay, all right. I think that's nice, but we have to, no, it's good. I like it. But we have to keep in mind the relationship between the half note and the quarter note. The last note is a quarter note. Yeah. So he's intending for the E flat to be longer and the B flat not. So do it again. That's okay. Now that you kind of, but you have to experiment. Okay, and that's a good thing. I like that better, though. I like that better. Do it again. Do it again, because I think this is difficult. Good. So, and the ability to hold it longer lets you have a little more flexibility with those lips to find that. All right, now do it shorter on the B flat. All right, but this is good. This is very good. Yes. Okay, better. Now, what happens at the end of that B flat?
Yeah.
It kind of goes,
Yeah.
your lips kind of stop moving. And you have to let that last little bit of air come out. You're stopping the air nicely down in your breath support system, but you still have to frame that last little bit of air with your lips reaching out there so that it doesn't drop, okay? And that's okay, because you've practiced it enough now that you've gone one way to the other to kind of figure out how much flexibility do those lips have. They got a lot, all right? So now you have to challenge yourself to do it how you want it to do it, just like you did before. Try it again. Good. All right. Now stretch it out a little bit more. All right. Nice. All right. Now don't bounce. Okay. Don't give it away. All right. Just stand still and do it. Okay. It's all right. Good, much better. Good. All right, now let's add this back to it. All right. Better. The B flat still wants to go a little flat, but you're on your way to figuring out how to fix that and feel more in control of that. Okay. That's very good. All right. Now let's back up a little bit more. I like Irv Monroe's little note here about how, what is this? What does he say?
Sound like a
Quickly,
pipe,
the blowing across a pan pipe. So this is one of my favorite parts, actually. So you kind of go, on a pan flute, or and so I think it has to sound like magic almost, It's like the waving of a wand or something, like, what was that? Because Pan really is a god, in mythology. So I think this is sort of the magic, all right?
Yes.
Try that for me. All right, go a little slower. There you go. All right, now let the lips go forward too. Now your fingers are going faster, but you got to keep the air going, and your lips have to follow that too. Better. Again. Again. All right, let's go just a hair slower so we can really feel where those fingers need to go. Good. Now, lead the air through each note. Dee-da-dee-da-da. Good. Now, dee-da-da-da-da. Yeah, listen. By yourself. Yeah? Good. Now let's do it strictly in time. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Almost. Good. Now don't move your body, all right, or at least right in here. Right now you're moving a little bit, and that's what's making the A flat maybe a little wonky coming out, all right? Yeah. Now use more support, so don't let it just go at the end. Yep. So when you play that. Yes. Yeah, a little more body, but yeah. Yes. Now, think you're going to elongate down here. Yes. So it doesn't go, all right, now I'm going to exaggerate.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You get to the yes. Better. Oh, almost. Yeah. Again. Yeah. So what's the difference? What are you feeling when you do it correctly?
Well, I'm not moving as much over here.
Right.
But I'm doing more down here.
Yes. Yeah, so it really doesn't happen so much here, does it? I think that's something we all think, we've got to work so hard with all these fingerings, and that's tricky right now for you a little bit. So you're going to have to remind yourself what that is, and especially when you go through this, it goes pretty low, and it challenges us, with that pinky for the E flats and the D flats, and it challenges some chromatic stuff. We got G flats all over the place, so that third finger is working a lot as well. But I think you have to slow some of those passages down sometimes so that you can work to get the effect, so that when you get there in the music, it'll happen for you. But does that give you some ideas? Good. All right. Would you like to shut that off?
Yeah.
Thank you.